A film from 2024 called Heretic has everyone talking, but nobody's grasping the occult symbolism hidden in plain sight. Some people think it's an anti-Mormon film. Some people say it's anti-Christian, but to me, it's clearly showing us the dangers of the occult practices. I've been podcasting for 11 years talking about this exact subject. 11 being the number of magic is only fitting for you to join me today in the ultimate guide in decoding the film, Heretic. Now, today's episode is the May 2025 bonus episode only for the supporters. As you know, supporters keep the show alive, so in return, I give them bonus content, and today is a real doozy, let me tell you. We're going to walk through the ultimate symbolism guide for the film Heretic starring Hugh Grant. I'm going to walk you through this entire film, the cast, the crew, break down the hidden symbolism that connects us into the realm of LDS, Mormon Esotericism, magic underwear, Freemasonry, The Shining, butterflies, CERN, Lucifer, the Zeitgeist Christ conspiracy, which I will debunk thoroughly as a Christian warrior, Mithras, Horus, etc., Gnostic simulation theory, Enochian Magick, the Occult Keys, and the meaning of the ending of this film, which if you've seen the film, you already know. There's some strange activity going on here. And if you knew there was some strange activity, you knew where to come. So you are being enlightened into the ways of the occult. So we're going to deep dive into a lot of these ancient practices and beliefs from Plato to Gnosticism, Saturn, death and rebirth rituals, ritual magic, the Brotherhood of Saturn, and much, much more. Get comfortable. This one's going to be very long. It's going to be long. It's going to be strong. It's going to be down to get the friction on. Unless you're free feed losing, then you're just getting a little preview. And you're going to be sad. And you're going to say, damn, why don't I just sign up at patreon.com/Illuminati Watcher? I'll be with all these cool friends in the comment section that Isaac reads through. Oh, man. Life could be so good if I was ad-free, early access, and all this bonus content. He's got hundreds of bonus episodes out there over the years. I could unlock everything right now. But yeah, if you're free feed losing, you're just going to get a extended preview. And if you like what you hear and you're like, you know what? Now's my time. Now's my time. Let's get into it. There's no tariffs on podcasts. Come on. Dive in. Links are always in the show notes. Okay. Now, and if you're already on the supporter feeds, Patreon, VIP section, or Apple Premium, much shout out to you. Thank you so much. You're keeping the show alive. I say that. I mean it. That is you. I owe you my deepest gratitude. Thank you. Now, should you watch this movie, Heretic? You know, I loved it. It's a kind of a religious, esoteric horror. It's slightly more thriller than horror. It's an A24 film, so you know it's got a good chance of being great. Like Baby Girl. I loved Baby Girl. I thought that was a great movie. I know a lot of you don't share the same opinion of films, and that's okay. That's okay. It's all right. A24, they also made that movie, Honora. I loved that movie. I thought that was great. But Heretic, we're talking about Heretic. It's 111 minutes long, right? An angel number when you see the 3 repeating numbers, right? And I'm willing to bet cash money. One of you listening out there has got a 111 tattoo on your little wrist or something. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I'll put a wager on that. Now, who's in it? Mr. Hugh Grant. He plays the main character, Mr. Reed. Oh, Hugh Grant. Been around the world, been in a million films. The king of rom-coms. Also, he was in a Roman Polanski film called Bitter Moon. He was also in Cloud Atlas. And in Cloud Atlas, which I haven't seen, apparently he had multiple roles, one of which was a cannibal. He was also an Oompa Loompa in the recent Twinkie Wonka. Shout out to Timothy Chalamet. I like Timothy Chalamet. That Bob Dylan movie sucked. If you follow me on Letterboxd, you already saw what I thought of the Bob Dylan movie. What a bummer. I didn't even finish it. It's rare that I won't finish a movie. I had to call it in. I was 2 hours in. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is the Bob Dylan. I lost respect for the guy. He's so boring. He's a boring a-hole, basically. That's the movie. He's a boring a-hole. Which makes sense because he said he sold his soul to the devil. Remember that on, I don't know, that 60 Minutes interview? He said he made a deal with the devil. but we're picking on Hugh Grant right now. Hugh Grant notoriously fumbled Liz Hurley. In the 90s, he was messing around with these prostitutes during the AIDS epidemic, no less. Now, to his credit, to Hugh Grant's credit, and who's she dating now? Who did I see she's dating? Billy Ray Cyrus? Hugh Grant, you fumbled the ball and you gave it to Billy Ray Cyrus, the mullet dude? What are we doing? But to Hugh Grant's credit, at least he didn't hide behind sex addiction. That's what they all do now. Oh, I'm addicted to sex. No, you're just a philandering person. And that, whatever. Like, no judgments. Just own it, right? And I get it. Like, you're rich and famous. You get the P or the D thrown at you 24/7. Like, that's got to be very difficult. And Liz Hurley didn't leave Hugh Grant for messing around with the pros. She left him 5 years later. Why? It's none of our business. You know what I mean? It's none of your damn business. But during the filming of Heretic, I keep wanting to say Hereditary. Another great, I think it was an A24 film as well. During the filming of Heretic, he had a meltdown over the read-through of the script, apparently. And if you Google Hugh Grant Illuminati, the Google AI tells us there's no evidence he was ever involved with the Illuminati. So I guess no Illuminati confirmed for Hugh Grant, as per our AI overlords. Now we've got a couple other main characters. We got 2 LDS missionary characters. One is Sister Barnes, played by Sophie Thatcher. Now, she apparently was a Mormon at one time. And she left the faith and said, I don't think it's evil. I just don't think it's right for me. I respect that. She was actually in Yellow Jackets as Natalie, the kid version of Juliette Lewis. I got a lot of requests to finish season 2 of Yellow Jackets. I'll get on it. I loved the first season. It just went too long before the second season. I forgot everything. I said, crap. Now, she's from Chicago, but she actually lived in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. That Silver Lake, the movie analysis that'll never get done. Everybody always asks for it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done soon. There's a couple movies on my radar of things people ask for that I promise you is going to happen. When? I don't know. That includes, I'm going to do Goonies for Cheryl. I'm going to do Fight Club. Someone keeps asking. I can't think of the name. And Under the Silver Lake. I keep getting requests for them. I'm going to do them. To be fair, I also got tons of requests for Twin Peaks, and you guys hated the hell out of that, okay? 55 episodes. Yeah, I know. I went a little off the deep end, but I'm back, okay? I'm back. And speaking of Twin Peaks, I made the Gray Lodge available on my Gumroad store. So if you are one of those folks that didn't want to sign up for the supporter feeds, but you always wondered what the 55-episode Twin Peaks Occult Symbolism Deep Dive was all about, and you got like 50 hours to burn, you can go buy it right now at gumroad.com/IsaacW. 2 A's, double awesome, okay? Links are in the show notes, as always. Go pick up a soft t-shirt. And depending on when you're hearing this, I've got a handful of Laura Palmer shirts and a handful of the Free Feed Loser super soft shirts that if you buy the Gray Lodge on my Gumroad, and if I have supplies in stock, I will email you and tell you, hey, what size you wear, Holmes. I would say homeboy, but it might be a female. I don't know. Homie, what size? I'm gonna send you a free t-shirt. What a deal. It's $50, by the way, for the Gray Lodge series. I know, or you could just pay $5 a month and get in and just consume the whole thing. But hey, some people don't want to do Patreon. That's fine. Next character, Sister Paxton, Chloe East, ex-Mormon from San Clemente, California. Then a minor character named Elder Kennedy, played by Topher Grace. That's right, Eric Foreman from the 70s show. AKA the only one without the 6 degrees of separation to some crazy pedo. I'm trying to put I'm going to put the previews on my YouTube and Rumble and Spotify, so I'm going to be careful with my language. But you know what I'm about to say. And the rumors are that Topher Grace didn't like any of those creeps he was on the show with. So, and I discussed this in That 70s Show Conspiracy 3-part deep dive, link in the show notes. And I had some people say they don't know where the show notes are. Well, it depends on the app. If you click on the app and, maybe Google or Chat GPT, how do I find the show notes for the Podcast Addict app or the Patreon app? It's right there where the show is. When you hit play, if you just click that little show title again, it'll pull it up. Links in the show notes. And then finally, we've got the written, produced, directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods from Iowa. These guys created the story and co-wrote A Quiet Place with Jim from The Office, based upon conversations they've had over the years about religion and asking, why do we believe this stuff? Why do we believe this? And they said it was inspired by the film Contact, as a film that discusses religion in a more serious manner. And they had apparently consulted some Mormon friends, and the LDS Church condemned the film's violence against the female missionaries for obvious reasons, right? They send young adults all over the world for 2 years for missions. I mean, I think it's voluntary. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's like a voluntary thing. I don't know how much pressure is in the community to have young adults do this, but it's generally, from what I understand, from the ages of 18 to 20, they do a mission, and they get sent somewhere, wherever the church wants them to go, and they walk around for 2 years trying to convert people. The budget for this film was $10 million. Quite the steal, grossing well over $50 million. So, in conclusion, with the cast and crew, we're not off to a real hot Illuminati confirmed start. Sometimes you dig into the cast and crew and directors of these films and you say, my God, it's full of stars. It's full of occult symbolism. Not yet, not on this one. But I guarantee you the film is. Let's get into the film. Plot spoilers coming. You've been warned. First shot. It appears to be, Twin Peaks vibes. I got a little excited for a second, but we're actually in Boulder, Colorado. Now, Colorado, curious location to choose. It's allegedly the home of the secret society, a rumor we've heard many times over and over, as well as the Denver airports out there with the underground aliens that Bill Cooper talks about. So we're off to a curious location. And we're introduced to the two missionaries of the movie, and they're discussing marketing, talking about the size of rubbers. And they say that magnums are the same size as the regulars. I'd never heard that. They talk about the size of men's units. They use the term P for penis. They won't say the word penis. They'll say P. And then they have a conversation about watching porn. Both pretend they don't watch it, but it feels like the one kind of does. And this is really, they nailed the Utah vibes for sure, right? If you talk to, and this isn't a diss, I love my Mormon brethren and sisterin, but there's a real, in generalities, like a real sort of innocent vibe they put out. They don't swear. They'll say fuh instead of the F-U-C-K word. They'll say shiz instead of S-H-I-T. They'll say effing. And all those things you hear in this movie, in the dialogue, and you'll say, do people talk like that in Utah? Absolutely, 100% they do. It's very strange. Especially, I grew up in the East Coast listening to Howard Stern. What are you talking about? So they discuss about how God showed them that the church is true. Again, this is very typical LDS talk in Utah. And Sister Barnes, she's got some doubts, but you can tell Sister Paxton, she's sort of the true believer, the naive sort of, she's all in, man. And they're doing their thing. They're walking around. Some girls ridicule them. They put on their skirts, and they're yelling about magic underwear. And if you don't know what this is, the LDS folks, they wear white garments underneath their clothes. And from what I understand, they're supposed to always be worn, even during sexy time. I'll call it not so sexy time, but apparently they're supposed to always wear these. And I don't know the reality of that practice, if that's really what happens. But if you live in Utah, you'll see a lot of LDS people that walk around. They always have like white shirts underneath their shirt and stuff. So some take it more seriously than others. I guess old-timey LDS folks used to put on these garments, and when they would take a bath, they would sort of like roll up the sleeve, wash the arm, roll the sleeve down. Roll up the other sleeve, wash the arm, roll that sleeve down. Like that's how they would wash with the thing on, which is crazy. But then back then, they only took a bath like once a month, right? And allegedly, the magic underwear have symbols sewn into them, the compass and the square. There's an L on the right chest, a V on the left chest, and 2 horizontal marks, one at the navel and one over the right knee. And, of course, the compass and square comes from Freemasonry because Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, was a Freemason. And it is the reflection of as above, so below. It's an occult idea. The compass is the heavens, the square is the earth. All right, and this goes back through Platonic solids with Plato on the cube, which we're going to come back to Saturn. It's a heavy-duty element of this movie. So these 2 missionaries are walking around, and they get to Mr. Reed's house, and they're going to meet this guy who was interested in hearing the message. They pull up to the house on their little bicycles. Sister Barnes says, "This is it." Now, that's an LDS phrase. That's a coded phrase. Because Brigham Young, when he got into Salt Lake, he looked out on the vista and said, "This is it." And they have a I think it's called the Heritage Park in Salt Lake. It's called This Is It Heritage Park. It's a whole thing, right? And when Barnes, you'll notice Sister Barnes pulls her phone out, and she has a list of names and contacts of who they need to go talk to try to convert. And at the bottom there, at the house they currently are at, is Mr. Reed. That's Hugh Grant, okay? So they're at Mr. Reed's house, and you'll notice the address is 237 Walnut Street. Now, the 237 is a reference to The Shining, which could totally distract us and take us down this Kubrickian rabbit hole of MK Ultra mind control, which is kind of an element of the film here from what Mr. Reed ends up doing, including the monarch butterfly, which we're going to talk heavily about on this episode, which is seen in The Shining and Heretic. They're both in Colorado, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. And also, how interesting is that we never, not in the credits, not in the movie, we never get the first name of Mr. Reed. He has no first name. Which reminds me of the powers of a magician. They take on magical names. Specifically in the LDS, they do a similar practice. They get a secret name in the temple endowment ceremony, because they get sort of initiated into this, thing. So anyway, they're out front. They're at this play on The Shining house, and it starts raining on them as they're at the door. And Sister Barnes says, "All right, let's get to the baptism." Now, again, I mean, we're barely 5 minutes into this movie at this point. It's raining on them, and they say, "Let's get to the baptism." They're about to be baptized. The water is literally hitting them right now. Baptized into the occult. It's a bit of an inversion. They're not there to baptize Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed has them there to baptize them. So they knock on the door. He answers it. He invites them inside. And they're like, "Hey, we can't come into the house unless there's another woman present, for their safety, of course." And he says, "Well, yeah, wifey's home. Come on in. She's got a pie in the oven for you." So they go in, and he says something really odd to them when they walk in. He says, "The walls and ceilings have metal in them. I hope that's okay." This is a Faustian sort of bargain. We're going to cover that later. They get inside. They look around the room, in the front room there, the living room, and you'll notice the owl figure in the living room, all right? The owl, of course, symbolizes the Athena, the goddess. And part of the argument from Mr. Reed, which we're going to dig deep into when it gets there, is going to be this idea of these ancient religions that Christianity supposedly copied, going back to sun worship, and even older is actually moon worship. And the owl is linked to the goddess worship of Athena or Lilith or Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, the divine feminine, which is part of the Gnostic idea that we're living in a false reality with a false god. And you'll also see the owl at Bohemian Grove or even in Twin Peaks, as you know, and it symbolizes a bit of the guardian of the occult truth. And Barnes looks around and she also sees a window that's in the shape of a hexagon with a butterfly in it. Double, double, illuminate, confirm trouble. Because what we got here is, with the flattened hexagon, it's a two-dimensional rendering of the three-dimensional cube, which is symbolic for Saturn. All right? And again, you could tie into the Freemasonic composite square, the Platonic solid. Because Saturn is symbolic of the material realm. Again, it's a Gnostic view in reference to Saturn or Kronos. And it gets kind of complicated. It gets into the second law of entropy, decay of the material realm. But it represents the demiurge evil force subjecting us into this prison planet where, through the supposed deception of Abrahamic religions, we worship this false god, the false demiurge. And the Gnostics are like trying to wake people up to be like, hey, you're worshiping the wrong god. You got to worship the correct god. Because Saturn it represents, in the Brotherhood of Saturn, it represents the final cosmic test, the final gateway for the initiate to overcome. Again, with the Kubrickian stuff, 2001: A Space Odyssey depicts this very well, right? In the Arthur C. Clarke novel form of the movie, Commander Bowman, he gets out there by the wormhole at Saturn, guided by the monolith, the alien intelligence, which enlightens him and sends him down the wormhole, where he becomes an ascended master. The Saturn represents the cosmic gateway with which one can overcome their fear and become a master of their own reality. And again, with the Twin Peaks, I did in my season 2 3-hour wrap-up episode, we talked about this. That was Dale Cooper, stuck in the lodge, trying to cross the abyss. It was the Saturnian cosmic gateway test. But also, on top of the Saturn reference, we have the butterfly, which symbolizes transformation. All right? In the MK Ultra Project Monarch, it's done through trauma-based mind control, but it also just, in regular symbolism, symbolizes the awakening or the transformation of the character, the enlightenment of these ladies into Mr. Reed's occult worldview. Now, Mr. Reed, he has them sit on the couch. He goes out back, gets some drinkies, gets a little candle, and they start a conversation about Heavenly Father's plan for him. And we find out through the conversation that Sister Paxton is from Ogden, Utah. Sister Barnes is from Philly, but then she moved to Salt Lake. And I think that's done on purpose. She's not as steeped in the culture and beliefs. There's this thing that in Utah, a lot of the LDS folks here sort of take on a different vibe from out-of-state LDS folks, from what I understand of the culture. The ones in Utah are a little more religious, I guess, is the best way of putting that. And the ones out of state are a little more of the world, so to speak. Or it's a good presentation of such. And that's very on the nose to these two characters, right? Sister Barnes has a little more street smart. Sister Paxton is like, I wonder if a pea would feel good, because that's really how they talk. Now, Mr. Reed, he talks about the struggle of knowing what is the one true religion. But he does think it's important to be religious. But as we're going to find out, the one true religion and the religion that he thinks should be important is Gnosticism, or the Saturnian death cult. And Mr. Reed, we find out, knows way more about LDS history than he let on. He spits out the entire story of Joseph Smith being visited by Moroni, which led him to the Golden Plates, and he wrote the Book of Mormon, which he pulls out to show the girls. He's like, see, I got it. He's got all them books on lock. So Mr. Reed asks Sister Barnes if she's had any signs from her dead father since he passed. And Paxton says, well, when I die, I'm going to come back as a butterfly to visit all my loved ones. And when I come back, I'm going to land right on their hand, right on their fingertips, so they know it's me. At this point, most of the lights in the house cut out, and all of a sudden, Mr. Reed says, it's time for pi and enlightenment. And I'm thinking along the lines of pi or p as in 3.14, or the golden ratio, which is half of that, which is phi. Again, sacred geometry, esoteric thought. He says to them, how do you feel about awkward questions, which you know is a setup for something terrible coming soon? And he asks them how they feel about polygamy. I mean, he wants to smoke, right? That's LDS controversy. And the things shift pretty hard. He knows like way more than he's letting on. And they're starting to feel it. And Mr. Reed thinks Joseph Smith used polygamy as a way to defend all of his extramarital affairs. And he says, if revelation by God is filtered through man and man lies, how do we know it's true? Sister Paxton says, well, it's more about how it makes you feel. So Mr. Reed starts talking about fast food. He wants to lighten the mood a little bit, right? And it turns out it's just another lesson for him to teach the girls about the different religions. Take a listen to how this goes down.
What about Taco Bell?
We don't talk about Taco Bell.
Why don't we talk about Taco Bell?
We'd have to talk about Taco Bell to talk about why we don't talk about Taco Bell.
All right, so Burger King is number one.
And I think it's trash.
Right. Not Jack in the Box.
I vote Wendy's.
I could support.
Good. Wendy's it is. Yeah. Do you know I've never had a Wendy? That came out wrong.
That's okay.
So when I started studying theology, the last thing I wanted to do was find the Wendy's of religions. I was just writing a research paper for a college class, and I was content with dabbling. So some McNuggets here, BK Whopper over there, whatever fit the mood. As I studied the genres, McD, BK, in and out, i.e. Mormonism, Scientology, Islam, Buddhism, as I got closer to God through genre and rigorous study, as I worked on my personal relationship with Heavenly Father, and I think strengthened it. Do you know what I found? The more you know, the less you know. And by the time I was 50, I was malnourished from the fast food of religion I'd been packing into my brain for the best part of a decade. Every sect, cult, creed, and denomination all claimed to be the one true doctrine, and yet none seemed true when held under the microscope. So I wondered what else was out there. I promise you, the last thing I wanted to do was find the one true religion. But unfortunately, I did.
Can we meet your wife? Please.
Of course, yes.
She just has to be present, and we want to meet her as well.
Sorry, I'll go ask.
You're listening to the free feed of Occult Symbolism and Pop Culture, which means you're missing out. Help the show out. Get rewarded with bonuses. Join any of my 3 supporter feeds. You'll get the ad-free experience, early access, and unlock hundreds of bonus episodes the free feed losers don't get to hear. You can also score free books, discounted merch, and more. The most popular option is patreon.com/IlluminatiWatcher. The easiest one is Apple Premium, where you sign up on the app. The cheapest one is my own, IlluminatiWatcher.com VIP section. Compare the 3 platforms at IlluminatiWatcher.com. Hit the VIP tab up top. Links are always in the show notes. Yeah! Hey guys, has it pissed you off to watch cryptos fly up in price for over a decade and you've still done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto is complicated and it's really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make the money that so many people have. The CopyMyCrypto.com membership site shows you the exact cryptos that YouTube's James McMahon personally holds, which means you just copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You simply copy along. So let me tell you more about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which has over 54,000 subscribers. In the summer of 2020, he told his viewers to buy 26 cryptos. Had you put in $100 into each one, it went on to be worth over $123,000. Of the 26 cryptos, his top pick of the year, the one that he singled out, called Phantom, went up 692 times from what he said. That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then pause what you're doing and head over to copymycrypto.com/Isaac. That's copymycrypto.com/Isaac. That's spelled ISAAC, right? Double A for double awesome. And you're going to find proof of everything I've said, but my viewers get full access for just $1. And you'll join me too, because I'm also a member. I've been watching James's videos and listening to his advice for years now, and I'm telling you, he knows his stuff. I've been banking fatties, and let me tell you, 2024 so far has been real good in the crypto market. And yes, you've missed out on Bitcoin, but there's over 2 million other cryptos. Do you really think you've missed out on all of them? Guys, don't waste any more time. Go to the site and read it. Once again, copymycrypto.com/Isaac, 2 A's, so ISAAC, and you get in for $1. It's ended money worries for so many. It may just do the same for you. Link in the show notes as always. Now, things get weird real quick because they won't talk about Taco Bell. Why? More importantly, Mr. Reed is saying that fast food is like religion. You have to kind of check all of them out, get a little taste of everything, which is what you hear a lot from this story of Aleister Crowley, Helena Blavatsky. They traveled around the world, sampling and taking a variety of different flavors of different religions. That's what Pythagoras did as well, right? They called it synthesizing various religions. And when you read into, what's the book? You guys know the book, The Golden Bough. When you read The Golden Bough, it's kind of what he's saying. He goes around the world and he's like, hey, these are all kind of similar. And Mr. Reed says, the more you know, the less you know. Meaning the more religion he consumed, the more confused he was. Just like eating all fast food. All the time. And he said, look, none of these seem very true until I found the one true religion, which we're going to come back to. And the girls, they start tripping. They're like, hey, where's wifey at? Because that was the whole deal. We need a woman in here. And Mr. Reed, he's like, okay, I'm going to head to the back and see how she's coming along with that blueberry pie. Well, Sister Barnes, being the street smart girl, she looks at the candle and spins it around and says it's blueberry pie candle. So now they're like, oh, snap. There's no wifey. There's no blueberry pie. This guy's crazy. And they look at each other and they're like, we got to get out of here. But they can't. Because the front, what's the deal? The front door is locked, I think, at this point. So Mr. Reed, he's in the back of this dark house down this dark alleyway. And he yells for them. He's like, come on back, ladies. He wants them to go to the back of this dark-ass house. And then Sister Barnes fakes. She's like, oh, I got a phone call. And they're like, look, we're just going to go out this front door and run out. But they find that the key to unlock their bikes is in Paxton's coat, which Mr. Reed already took with him. And they're like, that's fine. We don't need the bikes. We're just going to walk. But the front door is locked, like I said. So they can't get out no matter how they want to do this. So this time they for real try to call somebody, but the phone has no signal. Worse yet, a timer switches off, and now the whole house is dark. So they do what one naturally does in a horror movie, and they decide they're going to walk towards the back of this dark house to where Mr. Reed is. And there's a moment when they're walking down this dark hallway, and there's this dark figure in the hallway, and they kind of cautiously walk up to it. Turns out it's just a statue. But wait, what's the statue of? I ran it through my expert analysis software, and meaning I took a screenshot and then looked on the Google, which, by the way, if you're on my Instagram, you can see the screenshots for this movie that I'm talking about. At Isaac Weishaupt on Instagram. Follow, like, and subscribe. You can see all the images I will discuss today. Or if you watch the video version of this, you'll see, I'm going to start putting images on there. It takes me a heck of a long time, but I'm going to start putting the images as I speak on the video, which you can access Tier 2 at the Patreon, right? Or Tier 2 on VIP section. You get access to the early access, ad-free, bonus content videos. Oh, my goodness. So they walk back. There's a statue, and that statue turns out to be Plato. And the caption says that there's a song playing that's called Just Like a Butterfly That's Caught in the Rain. Lots going on here, right? We've got that butterfly, the metamorphosis thing. We already saw the butterfly once already. We heard Sister Paxton talking about how she wanted to reincarnate as a butterfly. My goodness, what's going on with the butterfly? And what's up with the statue? Well, Plato's the big dog. He's the one who started off all this thinking and philosophizing. He's the first to suggest that maybe the material world is a prison planet. That's like the Plato's cave, the allegory of Plato's cave. It's the same idea. Maybe we're just looking at shadows on the wall. And the simulation, the Gnostic prison planet, is merely a shadow. And from here you go into Neoplatonism, Gnosticism, Hermeticism, Theosophy, New Age, quantum thinking, and AI overlords, and the digital matrix. And that's how this is going to go. So that statue of Plato, to me, is a major clue. Major clue. So they go through a door, and they enter this big room that's set up like a church. It's got pews and an altar, various religious pieces. You see a statue of Shiva. That's right, Shiva. And there's a connection to CERN that I said that we would talk about, because at CERN, there is a large statue of Shiva, the destroyer, out front. Because Shiva is the destroyer that dissolves illusion. So while CERN is splitting atoms, making millions of mini black holes that could consume us all one day, as they try to unlock the prima materia of alchemy, to unlock the philosopher's stone, which was the Higgs boson God particle. But they could also be time traveling. Who knows? And what's interesting is that in the next scene, right after this, we're going to go through this church scene thing. The women end up going downstairs to be initiated, right? Going underground is Illuminate Confirm 101. Just like CERN, they do the atomic blasting underground. Like Alice in Wonderland. So, it wasn't CERN just running a Alice test of some kind? It's called Alice. Anyway, so they tell Mr. Reed, like, look, we got dip. I really like what you're doing in here, and the blueberry pie smells great, but we got to roll. And we're going to need our coats back, you know. And they get their coats back, and they're feeling for that bike lock key, but now it's in Sister Paxton's coat, not Sister Barnes' coat. So they look at each other like, what? Why is that? It's because Sister Paxton is the chosen one, and we're going to find out why. So they ask Mr. Reed for help opening this front door. And he says, oh, well, it won't open. And they're like, yeah, that's what we said. We need help opening it. He's like, no, you don't understand. It won't open. The deadbolts are on a timer. So now if you want to leave, you got to leave through the rear of the house. But these girls, they're not feeling it. But he says, I don't know what to tell you. The front door is locked on the timer until morning. So if you want to go, you just got to walk through my little cellar back door here. And of course, they're like not feeling that. So Mr. Reed, he goes into big speech mode, saying about how, you ain't got a lot to kick it, because he knows that they can't receive phone calls. And they were panicking, trying to call people. He's like, fool, I almost swore. He's like, fool, I specifically asked you if you were okay with metal in the walls and ceilings when you arrived, and you said yes. And this is a huge part of this. He's like, you were free to leave on your own accord at any time. And this is the nonsense. This is the free will nonsense. It's very Luciferian. It's very deceptive. He technically asked them, but as you already know, is manipulative and deceptive. If he would have said, hey, if you come in here and are you okay that your phone won't work and the front door is going to be locked? They would have said no. But he deceptively manipulated them in and didn't tell the truth. Which is very Luciferian, right? That's a very jerk thing to do. So Sister Barnes asks them. She's like, all right, I'm not playing these games. How do we get out of here? Which door do we need to go out? Because there's 2 doors. Big speech mode activated again. And he says, well, do you believe my wife is in the next room despite all of the evidence so far? Or are you indulging a lie? And he puts us in context to their religion. He says, do you believe because you were told to believe? Even though you will have all this evidence on the contrary. Sister Barnes, she's like, all right, dude. She chooses a door because she's over him. And she opens it. But what is inside on the other side of that door is a dark staircase to a basement. Which, as you know in any horror movie, you don't want to go down those stairs. So she closes the door. She tries the other door. Nope, same thing. Another dark stairway to a basement. It's not the backyard or the garden, as the English would say. Meanwhile, at the local LDS church, stake president Elder Kennedy, that's Topher Grace, he's in the church mopping around, looking at the nasty old storm outside. He looks at his little list of missionaries, and he realizes Sister Barnes hasn't checked in today with him. He's like, wonder where she is. Back to Mr. Reed's house. He hits them with a riddle on how they can choose between the 2 doors. And he pulls out a Monopoly game, cues up the song by the Hollies, The Air That I Breathe, on vinyl, and he compares the Monopoly to the Bible. He's like, look, this is picked up by over 1 billion people, but only finished by a few. Then he pulls out the Landlord's Game, which is the predecessor to Monopoly, which you're going to hear about. I'm going to play the clip. The original game, which was created by a feminist to teach about the evils of capitalism, and then as capitalism would consume its own self, some guy stole it from her and called it Monopoly and made it a pro-capitalism game. Anyway, he talks about the teachings being iterations, implying that religion does the same thing. And he also compares it to the Hollies song, which got chopped and screwed over the years similarly. Take a listen.
Come back to that. You are you not monotheistic?
We believe in Heavenly Father, yes.
Okay. There are 3 major monotheistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I call them the Big 3. Judaism, i.e., the original edition; Christianity, i.e., the most popular edition; and Islam, the newer, second most popular edition. May I see your Book of Mormon, please? I'll give it back. Thank you. And finally, after 800 years, this Mormonism, i.e., the zany regional spin-off edition. These are all iterations of the same source material. These texts share many of the same characters and histories, albeit presented with different meanings and perspectives. So, no, I will not accept that you stand there and tell me that you've never heard The Air That I Breathe by the Hollies, when I know that you have heard Creep by Radiohead. Oh, yes, you have. Come on. But I'm a creep. Huh? I'm a weirdo. Okay. What the hell am I doing? I know these are things you're thinking right now, but they're also lyrics you recognize, yes? Yes? The Hollies filed a plagiarism lawsuit against Radiohead, which they later settled by proving that the melody and rhythm of The Air That I Breathe appear in Creep. How old are you, 19 or 20? Something like that. Okay, so maybe you know Lana Del Rey, who remarkably was sued by Radiohead for plagiarizing Creep in her 2017 song, Get Free. Iterations. Over time. Diluting the message. Obscuring the original. Judaism is the OG monotheistic religion, which should by a wide margin have the most number of practicing members. And yet it makes up only 0.2% of the world's population. Why is that? Why is the original less popular than the iteration? Is it any less true than the others?
Are we talking about religion or board games or music?
Yes. It has the fewest members because it doesn't advertise. Doesn't have people like you knocking on doors, selling people a better life, a better board game, a better song. You ever think about that? How missionaries are really just salespeople for an organization? The product you're selling is an idea. You knock on my door and you sell. Maybe I buy, maybe I don't buy. Those are the rules of engagement when I invite you into my house. We are negotiating a transaction of ideologies. And what I'm trying to say to you tonight is that I have an idea which I would like to sell to you.
So he asks about their beliefs in monotheism, right? Worshipping one singular God. And how the big three, those are the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. And it spins off into talk about Mormonism and such. And how basically all these iterations come from the same source material. Like the Holly song, which was part of Radiohead's song Creep, and then Lana Del Rey's Get Free. They all dilute and obscure the original song. He says religion is the same thing. And the thing that makes LDS Mormonism more popular than Judaism is the advertising. Because they have active salesmen. And then he says he has an idea he wants to sell them. Why does he say this? I believe this is an initiation and indoctrination into him starting a new religion. Him trying to popularize a flavor of Saturnian Gnosticism. And here's where it gets interesting, because he goes through all these ideas of the religious iterations being a conduit to a more ancient truth. And this is something you've heard about a million times, from Zeitgeist to the late and great Jordan Maxwell. Even David Icke, one of my red pill daddies, talked about this. But I'm going to debunk all that here in a second. And you're going to hear this clip. And what you're going to hear, in case you're not watching the video version of this, you're going to hear him talk about these religious iterations, and then it's going to be mixed in with clips of Elder Kennedy trying to search for the missionaries. So, don't get too confused when it sounds like the audio changes. Here you go.
My argument is that the holy texts which we revere are just mythological iterations of stories which ancient people have been telling each other for centuries. They're not true or real in any literal sense. They are merely a conduit to a more ancient truth. The story of a savior who was born to a virgin, who could perform miracles, and was supernaturally resurrected was a very popular story for at least 1,000 years before Jesus was born.
One of them has blonde hair, one of them's brunette, both dressed similar.
No, never stopped by.
Mithras performed miracles. He was marked by the sign of the cross. Horus walked on water, was crucified, had 12 disciples. Krishna, he was a carpenter, born to a virgin, baptized in a river, rose from the dead, and ascended into heaven. This little gallery depicts 12 gods who were born on December the 25th, all of whom predate the existence of Jesus. I am sorry, but it is impossible to ignore the influence of one narrative upon another, or to ignore the fact that all these stories iterate into Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Can you imagine thousands of years from now people accepting Jar Jar as a significant religious figure?
So Mr. Reed, he goes through basically the same claims made on the Zeitgeist documentary in quotes. He's like, look, all these religions are the same. God born of a virgin birth, performed miracles, resurrected, born on December 25th. He says all these gods, Krishna, Horus, Mithras, they're all the same thing. Same thing as Christ. Same story. And this is the thing that bugs me, because All right, cut the music, cut the music. That's the end of the free feed preview. I'll give you a long preview, all right? Because I know you're dying to hear what comes out of my stupid mouth next. So if you want to hear the whole thing, you want to unlock hundreds of bonus episodes, you want to go ad-free, you want early access, you want all the greatest things in life, you got to join one of the 3 supporter feeds. The one I always recommend, patreon.com/IlluminatiWatcher. If you know how to copy and paste an RSS feed link and you want to save a few bucks and maybe you don't like Patreon, I've had some people tell me that in the past, you can check out my IlluminatiWatcher.com VIP section. Just go to IlluminatiWatcher.com, hit that VIP in the menu tab up top, and it'll tell you all about it. In fact, when you're there, you can compare the Patreon versus the VIP section versus the third option, which is Apple Premium. That one's simple. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you mash the button and you're in. Just that easy. So all three have their ups and downs, but Patreon ultimately is the overall winner because you get to join the community and drop some comments and tell me what you think in the comment section for each episode, okay? So yeah, if you want to hear the rest of this particular show, which it gets nothing but better from here, all right, I'm going to walk you through the rest of this movie, and I'm going to prove to you that Mr. Reed is trying to initiate these ladies into his Saturnian death cult. There you go. That's kind of what it is. We talk about the lost keys of Freemasonry and Mephistophelian activities, Dante's Inferno. It goes on and on and on. But we talk about how important the symbolism of the butterfly is and Saturn and how it fits into this Gnosticism, Luciferian idea that Mr. Reed is apparently very into. And then it even connects into some of the symbolism that you find at the end of the movie when our characters, they go through some initiation sequences underground, going through various chambers, and there's some hidden symbolism on the door that connects into the Enochian language. Oh boy, you know what that means. Illuminate, confirm. So if you want to unlock this episode, hundreds of other episodes, a 55-episode series on Twin Peaks, early access, ad-free, support the show, join a community of cool people in the comment section. You know where to go. You know what to do. Links are in the show notes. Till next time, stay positive. I'm your host, Isaac Weishaupt, and while we're taking a little break from the show, I want to take you down Grifter Alley. The amount of censorship that I've battled over the years is unbelievable. I started blogging and writing books in 2011, and I started podcasting and creating video content in 2014. My channels constantly get shut down. I've had Amazon reject books that I've written, and the saga just keeps going. Instead of folding up the whole project, I've had to rebuild and rebrand multiple times for reasons I have yet to understand. You can check out the full story at IlluminatiWatcher.com. Hit the Start Here tab on the menu. So that leads me to you. I need you to support the show because the power controllers apparently have a problem with us. The best way to do that is by becoming a member on one of my supporter feeds where you'll get ad-free versions of the show, early access, and hundreds of monthly bonus episodes that the free feed losers will never get to hear. The platform I recommend is patreon.com/IlluminatiWatcher because you'll get all those goods, and I will send you my 2 most popular books for free, The Dark Path and Kubrick's Code, all for less than a cup of coffee a month.
Cup of coffee in the big candy.
Another reason I like Patreon is the community comment sections because there are over 1,000 members, and sometimes the comment sections get real lively. App compatibility with Spotify and Apple and much more. It makes it a no-brainer. I can also provide an option to watch videos ad-free at a tier 2, annual discounts, and a whole lot more. Check it all out at patreon.com/IlluminatiWatcher. Now, the easiest platform is Apple Podcast Premium. If you listen to this show on Apple Podcast, just mash the button, you're in. You unlock all the bonus episodes, the early access, the ad-free experience, all that. The cheaper alternative to Patreon is one that I created. You get the same perks that you get at Patreon, the free books and all that. It's the VIP section. You can check that out at IlluminatiWatcher.com. Click the VIP menu tab up top. You can read the details. You'll have to copy and paste an RSS code into a compatible app of your choice, right? The VIP section, it doesn't work with every single app, but there's a list of the popular ones that it works with, like Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and much more. Again, check out IlluminatiWatcher.com, hit the VIP menu tab, and you can compare all 3 of these supporter options. Because lots of people think I should be doing this for free, which is very admirable, but it takes an incredible amount of time, recording, hosting content, and getting software, equipment. I got to read whole books sometimes, taking notes on everything that I consume. It's literally a full-time job for me to juggle with a day job, a home life, and a family.
Hey, man, I got 5 kids to feed.
And I'm a one-man army, which is great because I actually don't answer to anybody but you. All right? That means you can trust that I'm giving you my take and not some political hack job angle or corporate slave master shilling or any other kind of nefarious purposes. But that requires you to support the show. If you're in the position to, if this is the last $5 of the month that you have, I don't want it. I want you to prioritize your health, your family, your relationships. That needs to be priority number one. But if you got it, you want to give me a cup of coffee, let's go.